Good morning to you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Monday morning here in Ajijic at Namaste Village. We're so grateful you could all join us. It's going to be, I think, a very wonderful and unique session. We're going to be sharing a new kind of demonstration, a way of sharing the parables that we've been enjoying. I know so many of you have come to me and said that you really like story time at Namaste Village. Parables and stories have a way of teaching us and touching us in a way that just sharing or teaching really doesn't. It goes deeper, it slides in so much more easily. So we're going to be sharing that in a few moments, but I wanted to begin by talking about something that happened to me, a few days ago. It was probably one of you who said this to me. If it is, tell me who it was, because it was brilliant. They were sharing about, so to back up, Thursday's my birthday, I'll be 63. And so I was thinking about this, and someone said, you're entering the third act. The third act of your life. And of course, the third act in any drama is where it all comes together. The first act is usually from about birth to 30 or 33, somewhere in there. That's usually when we're getting it together, getting our identity established. The second act, from about 33 or so to around 60, 61, 62. That's when we're out there doing it. We're making it work. We're active, and we're doing whatever it is we think we've been called to do. And the third act is when we can sit back, relax, and simply be with the beloved. And so it was good to realize that, okay, I'm entering the third act of my life. What does that mean? What does that look like? Well, a lot of it is some of the things that I've shared with you in the past. The fact that I'm going to be spending less time here at Namaste Village, and I'm going to be back in Portland working with the people that we would consider to be the lepers of our time. I often talk about how St. Francis, when he left Assisi, the first thing he did was he went and lived with the lepers in the leper colony below Assisi. Well, we don't have that type of leper colony now, but we do still have lepers. In a city like Portland or many other cities today, this is a desperate need. And so for me to actually live there on the street with these people, to get up in the morning and give them some food, serve them breakfast, it seems like a small thing. But the truth is, the real gift that's being given is being given to myself. Yes, I'm giving them something to eat, but what I'm really sharing is that intimate embrace of the beloved himself. So that being said, in this movement toward the third act, there's a quote that came to me that I remembered that spoke to this very, very succinctly. It came from Leon Bloy, who was a French novelist and mystic. Here's what he said. The only real sadness, the only real failure, the only great tragedy in life is to not become a saint. To not become a saint. Now, when I was growing up in a very Catholic family, of course I was very attracted to the stories of the saints. Most of us had a little book of one type or another that had stories from the different saints that had been canonized over the centuries. Canonized means that they are part of the canon of the church. In other words, they're official. They had to go through a process of canonization. That's not the type of saint we're talking about here. We're not talking about being official or being canonized. We're talking about a deeper essence of knowing that I'm living this love without compromise. I'm sharing this love without compromise. And this is my only goal, my only purpose is to be in and to be as that love. And to me, this is what the third act is all about. The third act is making a resolute determination and decision that this is the only thing that I'm here to do, to share this love, to be this love, to radiate only love. Now, that may be right here at Namaste Village or out in Ahihik or wherever else you may find yourself. For some, it may be a more active ministry like the one that I'll be engaged in when I am in Portland. But the key is that it's every moment. To be in that divine conversation with the beloved every moment and to be activating that place within us and to be resolute within this. I also found a lovely quote from C.S. Lewis who said, "It would seem that the beloved finds our desire not too strong, but too weak. We are half-hearted creatures. When infinite joy is offered us, like an ignorant child who wants to go on making mud pies in a slum because he cannot imagine what it is meant by the offer of a holiday at the sea, we are far too easily pleased." How does that resonate? To be far too easily pleased rather than realize that we are here to give it all. We are here to be the activation, the radiation of this great light. We're called to be saints. And once again, all that really means is that we make a strong determination to do this for real. This is the thing that is so lacking today. We hear so often that that's not possible. The things that we were called to do 2,000 years ago, well, we can't do that today. That was 2,000 years ago. Things are much different today. Look at the world. It's not like it was back then. Well, guess what? They said the same thing to St. Francis, and they say the same thing to every saint, just as they're saying to you as a saint. They said to St. Francis, "Oh, that was 1,200 years ago, Francis. You can't live like that now. Things are different." No, they're not. Love is never different. The call to love is always the same. So what I've done, I've started putting these new parables together in a different way that I wanted to share with all of you. Now, for those of you who are sitting in the back, or if you're sitting in a place where you can't see the screen very well, I'll invite you to come up closer so you can see this. And let me just share this, and I have a few more, and they take a little while to make, but I think it's worth it. I think making or turning these parables into something that is actually, you can feel and see and hear, takes them so much deeper. So go ahead and come on up if you can't see the screen or you can't hear, and we'll go ahead and share this video.
The Only Real Tragedy by James Francis
Where's
Twyman.
the sound?
High in the Himalayan mountains, where the winds carried the scent of...
Sometimes videos do that. So this is too bad, because I think the only way I'm going to be able to do this, let me just check one thing. Could you guys online hear it?
We
You
had
could hear it. We
sound.
just can't hear it here.
On Zoom we had sound.
Oh, the mute button. It was so simple. The mute button. Yes. Oh my goodness. Where'd it go? Okay, hold on. Let me unmute the TV, then we should be able to hear it. Bring it up all the way. Okay, here we go.
The Only Real Tragedy by James Francis Twyman. High in the Himalayan mountains, where the winds carried the scent of jasmine and the rivers whispered secrets older than time, the mystic known simply as Mother sat beneath the ancient banyan tree. Around her, seekers from all over the world had gathered, longing for her wisdom, eager for her presence. Some sat close, hanging on to every word, believing that their greatest joy was simply to listen to her parables and let her stories shape their hearts. Others observed her movements carefully, memorizing the way she spoke, the way she prayed, the way she fasted, thinking that to imitate her was to touch the divine. They whispered among themselves, asking, "How does she sit? How does she walk? If we copy her, will we become holy too?" Mother, sensing their thoughts as easily as she sensed the morning breeze, smiled gently and spoke. "Some of you think that your joy is to sit at my feet and listen to my stories and parables. Others believe that your highest goal is to imitate me, or to somehow become like me. Neither of these is true. Listening to my parables and stories may help you remember who you are in the mind of the beloved, and imitating me may help you release the chains that you have wrapped around your own heart, stopping you from flying to the highest heaven. But there is really only one goal you should seek to attain. As the French mystic Leon Bloy once wrote, the only real tragedy is to not become a saint. Here, let me tell you a story that may help you understand. She picked up a handful of dust and let it slip through her fingers as she began her tale. Once, in a faraway village, there was a sculptor known for carving the most exquisite statues of the gods. Kings and saints alike came to admire his work, for his hands seemed to breathe life into the stone. But one day, he began a work unlike any before. He set out to carve the perfect saint. He traveled far and wide, studying the faces of the wise, the postures of the holy, the expressions of those who had devoted their lives to God. He observed how they bowed, how they walked, how they folded their hands in prayer. Then, with great precision, he began to carve. Weeks passed, then months, then years. He worked tirelessly, shaping the figure to reflect every sacred pose, every expression of devotion he had ever witnessed. And when at last he was finished, the villagers gathered to see his masterpiece. The statue was perfect. It looked exactly like the saints of old. It stood in perfect stillness, its hands folded just so, its face calm, its form flawless. Yet, something was wrong. Though the statue looked perfect, it was lifeless. The villagers admired its craftsmanship, but felt no presence, no holiness, no light radiating from within. Disheartened, the sculptor cried out, "What have I done wrong? I followed every detail, every gesture, every form of the saints. Why does this creation not shine?" That night, as he sat before his lifeless masterpiece, an old woman from the village approached him. She had kind eyes and a presence that felt like the warmth of the sun after a long winter. She placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "You have made an image of holiness, but you have not carved a soul." The sculptor looked at her, confused. She continued, "You thought holiness was in the pose, in the imitation of those who came before. But saints are not made from stone, nor from mimicry. A saint is one who allows the fire of the beloved to burn away all that is not love, so that only truth remains. You were not meant to carve another saint. You were meant to become one." With those words, the sculptor understood. He had spent his life copying what he thought was sacred, yet had never surrendered to the fire himself. He had not yet allowed the beloved to shape him from within. And in that moment, he put down his chisel forever. The seekers sat in silence, absorbing Mother's words. She let them linger before she spoke again. Do you see? You were not born to be perfect or to copy me in some perfect way or any other teacher. You were born to become the flame itself. The only real tragedy is to reach the end of your life and realize that you never became who you were meant to be. A living light, a vessel of love, a saint of your own making. You do not find holiness by watching it in another. You find it by becoming so empty of everything false that only the real remains. A soft wind passed through the ashram, and the seekers bowed their heads, not in imitation, but in understanding.
Thank you. Emptying yourself of everything that is false. That's what it means. That's what a saint is. That's what we do. We simply empty ourselves of every idea, every concept, every construct, until we're left like that open bowl, ready to receive that life-giving drink, that elixir. So why not today? Why don't we all make the decision today? Because I think most of us are in that third stage, yeah? Well, a couple of us are still in the second stage, but, but I think most of us have come to that third act. So why don't we all together make the determination that we are here only to become radiant saints, filled with light, sharing love in every moment. That's the reason you were born. It's the only thing you're here to do. So let's be about it. Let's not say things like, well, we can't do that today. It's different. No, it's not. It's always the same. The call to love is always the same. So I have a few more that I've made, so I'll share them at different times. So Vicky, I'll bring you on and hear what you'd like to share.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, everyone. Do I have a happy man?
What was that, Vicky?
Do I have a I do want to.
Try it now, Vicky.
Yeah, here we are. Okay, we're good. So first I have to say, happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day. May the wee little ones be all around you, and better yet, may you know they're all around you, the angels, the elementals, the spirits in every variety that are here with us in this context and reality of love. So happy St. Patty's Day. And Brother James, thank you. You know, more than anything, thank you for your example. Thank you for your example, because we all know how you love to do this and do that and write this book and write that book, and how much it takes for you to put down your chisel. And that example has been stunning for those of us that join you every day and recognize this step. It is a mate for all of us to put down the chisel of where we've gotten comfortable in our doings and to find out what wants to get done through us, as us, but not by us. That's an example that is eternal. It's a vibratory frequency of love emanating. And we join you in that. We recognize it. And I think your call today for each of us to put down what has been our familiar way is what Namaste Village has always been about. It's about doing, not speaking about it, but being it, not teaching about it, not using all the ideas and the concepts, except as motivation to come into these moments every day of our lives to do it, whether it's to forgive, whether it's to look within before we look without, whether it's to trust the unknown. These are the doings that we've been all called to being alert in the present moment, to recognizing there is only one reality and we all share it, and that we already live in it. Heaven isn't later or yesterday or tomorrow, it's now. To recognize, and then not just in our minds, but to live by it. So you're stepping back and hearing this prompt, putting down your own chisel and taking up the fire, the torch, and letting it lead you. Thank you. Thank you. And the example is more than a teaching, it's a sharing. It inflames all of us with where can I be open to love right now in the most ordinary ways? Where am I being shown how to love? Where? Right here, right now. So we're going to start this third phase with you, I trust, Brother James. And it's your birthday week, a perfect time to begin, a perfect time to make it a party, because in this realm of the third act, it's a feast of love, because there are no decisions we need make anymore. The decision to only love was the only decision we ever had to make. And to put down all our other ideas, our chisels, our swords, all our tools that we manage being here with, as we put them down and we listen to only the love from within us, it brings about everything we're to do. And all we do is step in to the next natural step as it's presented in front of us. So it's a time of great release, great resting, great celebration, even though it may look like you're physically doing more in one way than you ever have. It is a deeper relaxation into doing nothing but resting into love, celebrating the ease of the way of grace. This is entrance into the way of grace, not by the sweat of our brow, but by the ease of love. So we join you, Brother James. We certainly love you. And we recognize that we have been called together to do this because we are an experiential family here. So we thank you and we love you. And to each of you too, I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am so grateful because I too am a March birthday. I turned 3 on the 12th. And I saw you were coming, James. Thank you for this lesson, James.
You're welcome.
My family here.
I think we have a lot of, we have a couple.
Early and being picked up. My friend.
Okay.
And I love it.
Okay, thanks, Carolyn. I think we have a few even birthdays here today at Namaste Village. I think we're having a party tonight. There are a lot of birthdays coming up, but for each and every single one of us, it even doesn't matter how old we are or what we're doing, it's time. This is the moment. This is the activation. So just make the choice. Be resolute. Be determined. Be uncompromising. This is the only thing I'm here to do, is to shine this love in every direction. So Calico, take us home.
Thank you for reminding me it's St. Paddy's Day. You know, growing up as an Irish woman, half Irish, it was a massive holiday. And I want to reframe it for A Course in Miracles, because I had to reframe this holiday. St. Patrick was noted for removing the snakes from Ireland. Okay, so the snake is always the misaligned one, okay? Poor snakes. Anyway, I'll continue on just because it is a parable that might be helpful for some. the snake is a judgment. Okay, so St. Patrick was responsible for attempting to get rid of the judgments about the English, the judgments in his mind. And so removing the snakes from Ireland is actually removing the judgments from your mind. and for me, I love it. I love this translation because it works for me. I love St. Patty because, oh my God, I lived in Chicago. They turned the river green, for God's sake. I mean, it was a holiday. Went downtown. My father would bring us into the bar and we'd have kitty cocktails and he'd drink whatever he drank. It was a feast day, kind of. So I had to reframe it for my Course in Miracles study because getting the snakes out of Ireland never made much sense to me. It's like, why do that to the poor snake? They provide a useful service to many. And it's like, it has nothing to do with the snake. It's your judgments. So third act for me was to put down all books of study. Absolutely every book of study I had to put away. It was time for application. And it's like, and that's where you'll get thrown into the outer space is all I can tell you. Because once you start applying these principles, once you start getting the snakes out of your mind, everything shifts. Everything shifts. And you can see your own light. And that's the whole point of this, is we all have a parable. Everybody's story is just a parable. Now it's time to kind of go into that parable and see, okay, where have I missed the mark? Where have I, gotten snakes out of Ireland rather than getting the judgments out of my mind? So I'll leave it with that. And happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Just remove a judgment. Do that for St. Patty.
What a great idea. We all have snakes inside of us that need to be vanquished, but they're all just judgments of ideas, concepts. So let's enter our own third act today. Let's resolutely decide that we're here for one reason and one reason only, and that is to be saints, to be activated, to radiate this love in every direction. And to that we say, Amen, Amen, Amen y punto. Gracias, everyone. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.